Did you know that several large companies are quietly scaling back their DEI programs? And by DEI programs, I mean diversity, equity, and inclusion programs that have helped so many people get into not only tech, but multiple other industries as well. I have even benefited firsthand from these programs. Being part of communities like Coding Black Females and Code First Girls, they are very much known for partnering with organizations to help people from diverse backgrounds get into the tech space. And I fear that without these D&I programs, a lot of people are going to end up getting left behind, and a lot of opportunities will be missed, especially for those who belong to minority groups or who are from diverse backgrounds. So in today's video, I'm going to be discussing the rise and the fall of D&I programs and how you can best safeguard yourself and advocate for D&I programs where you are. So let's get into it. So let's take a look back at why DEI programs were started in the very first place. If we go all the way back to 2020, when George Floyd was tragically murdered, a lot of companies decided to pledge their allegiance to the Black Lives Matter movement and to support the Black Lives Matter movement by adopting DEI programs within their companies. And this was done mainly to address internal biases within companies, as well as to promote inclusivity, to make sure that people from diverse backgrounds and minority groups have equal access to opportunities as their white counterparts and male counterparts. And even with the diversity, equity, and inclusion programs offered by companies, there still remains a lack of diversity, especially within the tech space. So the decline of these programs at such an alarming rate is worrying. I recently did a talk at the Excel about this specific topic, building inclusive tech spaces and pathways for diverse talent, which was exactly addressing these diversity and inclusion programs and how we need more of them. So to hear that there's a decline is truly worrying and also quite heartbreaking to hear. I'm going to share with you some of the facts and statistics that I shared within my talk, so you can just understand how dire the situation is, especially within the tech space at this moment in time. According to LinkedIn, Black professionals are 29% less likely to be promoted than their white counterparts. And according to Lean In's Women in the Workplace report, women of color are less likely to have advocates in the workplace. Besides this, a study by Harvard Business Review revealed that mentorship and sponsorship programs improve the promotion rates of underrepresented groups by about 30%. And those are just a few of many statistics that I shared during my talk, which lets you know how dire the situation actually is for diversity within the tech space. So what has actually caused this radical shift away from diversity and inclusion programs being adopted by large companies like Target, Meta, Amazon, and even Walmart, to name a few? Well, there are a number of factors that have actually influenced the decision of companies to abolish these DEI initiatives. But a significant force behind this movement is a conservative activist by the name of Robby Starbuck. And he has been visiting companies directly and persuading them to abolish their DEI initiatives in favor of his philosophy of go woke, go broke, which is basically a term that he uses to describe how companies are now wasting money and spending a lot of money in uncertain times on these programs to support a cause that is very meaningful, by the way. However, he feels that it's not profitable for companies to be doing this, hence why he has been pushing the narrative that DEI programs should go. And he has quite some influence because he's managed to persuade companies like Walmart and Ford to reconsider their DEI initiative offerings and in some cases even retract them. Target even recently announced the abolishment of their DEI initiatives and policies, and also halting the career building programs for Black employees in 2025. And let me tell you, they have definitely been met with some backlash, especially from Beyoncé's mother, Miss Tina Knowles, who posted something basically cancelling them. And I really admired this, to be honest, because we should really be naming and shaming the companies who are retracting these DEI programs and essentially saying, well, we don't really care anymore. We care about our profits much more. And even with some companies turning their backs on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and initiatives, there are still some who have remained steadfast in their commitment and support towards these programs And these are some of the companies that you can thank for doing that. And hopefully they continue to do so.
So if you are someone who will be impacted by the lack of and the decline of these diversity and inclusion programs and initiatives, then I'm going to share a few strategies for you that will help you prevail in any industry that you're in, despite the lack of these programs. So now more than ever is the time to be building out a network. With the absence of these diversity and inclusion initiatives and programs, which was a safe space for diverse talent to be ushered into specific industries, unfortunately, you are going to now need to ramp up that networking even more. You should already be doing that anyways, but in the absence of these programs, it's going to be more about who you know rather than what you know in a lot of cases, and in a lot of industries as well. So going to those events, networking online, building out your personal brand, joining communities, these will serve really well in helping you to uncover opportunities and navigate this landscape and build meaningful connections with people who could potentially open doors for you in companies who may not even support this diversity and inclusion initiative anymore. Another thing that could serve you really well in times like this is documenting your achievements. Have a brag book. And what a brag book is a book essentially, or a page somewhere. I have mine on Notion, where I keep track of my wins. So make sure that you're doing that, because it's so easy to forget on a day-to-day basis, if you're not regularly reflecting and writing down your wins, what it is that you are capable of. And it's now more than ever for you to be your own biggest advocate, especially with the decline of advocates in the workplace that you're going to experience. So I would say definitely be writing that down somewhere, keep a note, and make sure you're sharing this as well. Don't just keep it to yourself. Share it in your one-to-one meetings with your manager, what you've been up to. Share it on LinkedIn, share it on your personal portfolio, share these things when you're building your personal brand, and just make sure you are not dimming your light. Put yourself out there and do not allow yourself to be overlooked for all the amazing work that you're doing. If this diversity and inclusion landscape continues to evolve the way it is, then unfortunately there will be less pathways available to diverse talent and minority groups to get into these spaces. And this is why pursuing continuous learning is super duper important. So make sure you're staying on trend with the in-demand skills in the industry. You can do this if you're in the tech world and trying to get into engineering by potentially building out projects and popping them in your portfolio for the world to see. Or you can do this by pursuing certifications in your field of interest. And besides this, it's probably a good time to start researching prospective employers and finding out what their values are. Do they value diversity and inclusion? And is that a place that you would want to work if they don't? And last but not least, engage in advocacy. If you are already in the workforce, then why not join an employee resource group or start your own to make sure that this matter is being spoken about? Promote inclusivity within your organization and be the change that you seek. Advocating for diversity, equity, and inclusion can extend beyond the workplace. Support organizations that promote equity and inclusion. Raise awareness through social media platforms and engage in community initiatives that align with DEI principles. Collective efforts can drive meaningful change. And that brings us to the end of this video. The evolving landscape of DEI initiatives presents challenges and potentially some opportunities. But it's up to you to stay informed and be the change that you seek within your organizations and within your communities. And make sure that this matter doesn't just go unheard, unnoticed, and swept under the rug. It must be spoken about in order to make that change. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's been informative. Give me a follow on reneelouise.tech, Instagram and on TikTok. And make sure you subscribe here as well. We post videos every single Sunday at 3 p.m. and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.